you ever heard the expression, paint is just paint? For so many years, I've heard that expression, and even in the beginning, when I first started my painting company, I also said that. I would say paint is just paint. I would tell people that the paint stores would put on a different label and just charge you more. Over the years, I've realized that that is so far from the truth. There are so many different paints out there. There are low grade and there's high grade. Depending on what your needs are, will decide whether a low grade paint or a high grade paint is best for you. In this video, I'm going to be going over what makes paint low grade and what will make it high grade. By watching this video, you'll be able to find the right paint for your project. So the first thing that makes up paint is solids. So you have a bunch of resins that get put in the paint, and that is what just makes up all the chemicals that makes the paint work. So paint has a binder in it, and what the binder does is that actually makes it to where you can spread it. And then once you put the paint on the wall, it dries, and the resins, the high-end resins or low-end resins stay on the wall, and then a bunch of it evaporates off. And that is called the solids. So typically, a really good paint will have higher solids. Not all the time though, but the majority of the time it will be higher in solids. Sometimes you will have a paint that's high in solids, but it's very low resin. The main resin in a low-grade paint would be clay. So if it's high in clay, it could still be high in solids, but it doesn't mean that it is a really good paint. Secondly, cleanability. So when you have a low quality grade paint, they have lower grade resins that get mixed in it. So it's just gonna be cheaper, and that's what makes a cheap gallon of paint. So it's just not gonna wash as well. The sunlight's gonna come in, it could fade the color. It's not going to be real vibrant when it goes on the walls. It's just going to kind of look blah. You may not notice it until you really see really nice. If you were to see a color right up against it in a different paint, then you'd be like, oh yeah, I can tell the difference. The better resins will be more vibrant and they'll just look so much better. But that's part of it. The other part is it's just going to be a lot more durable. When the sun comes in, it's not going to fade the color. So when you have touch-ups down the road, you're going to be able to touch it up and not have to repaint the whole house. So in the beginning, like I said, I used to say paint is paint. Probably the biggest thing with high quality paint is it is stain resistant. Kids spill something on the walls and a month later you notice it, or an animal makes some marks on the walls. A month later you notice it. If it's stain resistant, you'll be able to wipe it off. You're not gonna, it's not gonna show, and you'll be able to clean it really easily. If it's not stain resistant and it's a lower grade paint, you don't have a chance. There's no way you're gonna wipe it off. When you do wipe it off, it's gonna leave a bigger area that even looks worse than if you go with the higher grade paint. It gets really confusing out there when you're getting bids. A lot of painters do believe that paint is just paint. And so that's why we're doing this video, to just kind of help educate you to where you have a better understanding of it. And then also don't just trust the painting contractor that he's the professional, because when you get to the higher quality paints, they can actually be a little tougher to apply. And so not all painters really like that. They really like the stuff that flows easy and goes on easier. So when you get to the higher solids, it is a little more difficult to roll it out and to brush it. It just doesn't go as far. So it does take a little bit longer as well. With the paint stores, you have Sherwin Williams, you have Benjamin Moore, you have Pittsburgh Paints, and actually Home Depot is another really big brand. They sell a lot of paint as well to the consumers. All of those paint stores have a really high grade paint. They all have a mid-grade and a low grade. Your mid-grade and your low grade, they're really not gonna clean very good. The big misconception is that if it's an eggshell, it's gonna clean. That is so far from the truth. You really need to have a high quality, stain resistant product. And so if we go to Sherwin Williams, Benjamin Moore, we just go to those 4 stores I talked about. But today what I'm gonna do is compare Benjamin Moore's Regal Select with Sherwin Williams Emerald. So they're both very nice paints. They're both stain resistant paint. The biggest thing that separates the Benjamin Moore products from the Sherwin Williams, the Home Depot, and the Pittsburgh paints is their resin technology. They have something that's called Gen X technology, and that is where the colorant does not weaken the paint. So in a lot of these paint stores, if you were to go get the higher quality paint, they're mixing pigments in that actually weaken the paint. With Benjamin Moore's Regal Select, it does not weaken the paint. The emerald, the deeper base colors will actually weaken the paint just a little bit, but they're still both considered very nice paints, and they're both very washable. Now we're gonna talk about Aura, the top of the line paint. One of the most amazing things with the Aura is it's very moisture resistant. It holds up really nice in bathrooms. But probably the biggest thing is that Gen X colorant technology that you mix into it makes it extremely vivid. So the color, so if you were to take the Emerald or the Sherwin Williams Emerald or the Benjamin Moore Regal Select, and then you put the Aura, Benjamin Moore Aura right up next to it, you'll see that the Aura just has a real life to its color. It's just really vivid. It just looks deeper and better. The other really nice thing is it has really high resins, and it is great for scrubbability. Washability is amazing. With the Aura, it goes on pretty heavy and thick, so it is a lot more complicated to apply. So a lot of painters will just tell you they hate it, but it's more based on application is why they hate it. It's not because of the way it performs, because I will tell you firsthand, it performs amazing. But even my guys will complain a little bit about it just being a little tough to apply, but it looks absolutely beautiful when it's done. As far as the Sherwin Williams Emerald goes, it's not gonna be as expensive as the Aura. It probably is gonna be a little closer to the Regal Select price. The other big thing about Sherwin Williams is there's just so many Sherwin Williams stores around, so you don't have to drive very far to get to your nearest Sherwin Williams store. I hope that this video has been helpful in helping you understand the differences between just high-end paint and low quality paint. And hopefully this will help you make the decision and be able to really pull the trigger on what will work best for you. If you're interested, click the button below and check out our pricing calculator. Sign up for an estimate. I'd love to meet you and just come take a look at your project.